All right, we're live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to our conversation today. Really excited about my guest and who is joining me. We have Matt Smith from the Matt Smith Real Estate Group out of Central Missouri. Matt, you are just like an amazing brain in the real estate space. So, thank you so much for taking some of your time to pour into the fellow community and connect with me today.
For sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's an
Yeah,
honor.
absolutely. I follow you on social media personally, and I just love your posts. I think that they're inspiring and motivating, and I love the direction you kind of go with how you educate and how you run your team. So I was excited to connect with you today about that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So Matt, before we dive into like Fellow and the 30-day listing challenge and all that, would love to hear a little bit of your origin story. How did you get started in real estate?
Yeah. So it depends on how far back we want to go. How did I got started in real estate? So my wife worked for a property management company, and I went to their company functions a couple times, and the owner of that company said, "Hey, why don't you come work for me and sell real estate?" And he said it enough times where I'm finally like, I don't know how much money does the average agent make there? And he told me the amount, and I'm like, well, that's double what I make now, and I think I can do better than average. So let's do this thing. And then just with my mentality, I just went all in, and literally quit my job that week. Got my testing courses to get my license, and the next thing I know, I was licensed and selling real estate. And my very first full year, I sold 74 homes as a single agent, and so learned a lot of lessons, and was very fortunate to get started so quickly.
I love that. And I mean, that is an insane amount of homes in your first year. So, for somebody, we do have some fellow users who have just gotten licensed and are really trying to build a solid foundation. What advice would you give to them? Kind of if you could go back all those years and give yourself advice when you're in those shoes, what advice would you give to them on getting started in real estate and kind of hitting the ground running the way you did?
Yeah, so I mean, I've unpacked this so it's a really good question. Is like how was I able to do that? And it's to summarize it, it's just really I worked harder than everyone else, and be willing to work and learn from your mistakes because you will make them. And so what I mean by that is that a lot of people are afraid to make a mistake, so they won't do the thing.
Mhm.
But I think mistakes are a good thing because that's how we learn. And so I make mistakes often. I make them. I still make them today. And I just take some time to reflect. And where is the lesson in that mistake? Where is the lesson in that failure? What can I do better next time? Down to every phone call, down to every conversation, down to every showing and every listing appointment. It's those micro adjustments that you can make and analyze. Like, to use a sports analogy, if you just review your game film and you watch the game film and you learn from what you actually have done, you can't help but improve. And then I just attempt to not make the same mistake twice. Just learn from my own mistakes and learn through action. Align with people like the fellow community of other like-minded people that are doing it and kind of accelerate that learning curve. But it really starts with, are you willing to do the work, or are you going to be someone that finds an excuse to not do the work? And to me, like, I simplified the business, and I had two rules. Number one was I wasn't going home until I set an appointment.
Okay.
And number two was, if I had a conversation with someone, either on the phone or face to face, I wasn't giving up until I had three no's. They had to tell me no three times before I would stop. And it wasn't that I was pushy in any of that nonsense in the sales world. It's just, I really feel like too many times we get out scripted by these leads, and
Mhm.
they are triggered and armed in today's society to give us a reaction that we see as an objection, but really what it is sales skepticism. And so if we're able to unpack that, then we can have less conversations that lead to more sales, instead of just maybe running a reactive business where we're waiting on the lead that's ready, willing, and able today. I think by nurturing relationships and building that proactively, and my reference and my saying that I share with the team is stay in the box, right? Like, if you have to stay in the box in these conversations, and you have to be willing to get uncomfortable and ask a tough question so that you can move the conversation forward. So those would be my tips.
So good, so good. And I love that you bring up being reflective because I do think that that is so important, and the ability to be okay making mistakes. I remember back when I was kind of just getting out of college and in my professional career, I made a mistake and I was just eating myself up. And the president of the company was like, if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning.
Yes.
Like you can't just be perfect all the time. And that is a very hard thing for any human to get over, especially when you're kind of putting yourself out there in the real estate world. So tell me a little bit about the trajectory of building your team. You have built this massive, powerful organization that is known throughout the industry. So tell me what that looked like from becoming, that solo agent or that agent that had a really, really strong first year to kind of building this team or this enterprise that you have now.
Yeah, so it's had ebbs and flows throughout the years. Very, very blessed to be where we're at, and blessed to work alongside some amazing people inside of our organization. And it's one of the things that I think about it going back to building is I'm now privileged to be a coach too for other team leaders, and so I see that from multiple perspectives. And getting to look behind the curtain, not only my organization, but other top performing teams is, I think some people, when they say they want to start a team, that is now the cool or hip, or for lack of a better term, the sexy thing to do in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And back when I started a team, there weren't very many teams. And it was, especially in my small marketplace, I was the only one. And everyone said, oh, that'll never work in our market. All of that stuff is what I was dealing with. But I think that if we just realize and unpack, why did I start a team? I started a team because I had too much business and couldn't handle it. And so why am I sharing that? I'm not sharing that to brag. I'm sharing that to, if you're thinking about starting a team, don't start a team just to start a team. Start a team because there's a need there. There's a desire. There's a purpose that you need to fulfill. I remember the aha moment I had when I said, I need help. Was I was having a conversation with a lead and they were trying to book an appointment with me. And I was booked 3 weeks out before I could meet with them as a single agent. I thought I need to deliver better service. So how can I replicate this? And so then I hired an assistant, and then I hired some buyer agents. And then I still was the traditional, I was doing the listings and leading the team. And then we were very, very blessed. We just kept growing through that transition. I was able to replicate and, number one, hire amazing people that fit our culture. We are a culture first team. And so I find amazing humans and then help them, teach them the things that I've learned through my scars that I've earned throughout this career. And they just have accelerated really, really quickly. And we just continue to attract more like-minded people, continue to train them, hold them accountable, give them guidance, and it keeps growing.
I love that. And you're out of Central Missouri. What does your guys's business makeup look like? Are you primarily seller focused? Are you buyer focused? Does it ebb and flow based off of year, real estate cycle, all of that?
Yeah. Up until 2 years ago, we were pretty much buyer focused. And we sold a lot of listings because that's kind of what I owned for the organization for many years. And I kind of replicated the buyer's process. But the seller side of the process, I always found was really hard to replicate. And so I held on to it probably longer than I should have. And then when I finally let go of that and started running the organization instead of working in the organization. I remember finding people that could focus on listings. And what was the mindset so if you're a team leader listening, like, here's the things I think you should look for great listing agents. In my opinion, a great listing agent needs to have a high level of emotional maturity, because I think the sellers are more emotional in the transaction than the buyers. And if we can help regulate those, that really helps relieve a lot of the tension. So that's kind of the avatar I was looking for. And I found a couple of them. And honestly, our business, because we were very, very blessed to have amazing people, we would get a lot of repeat and referral business. And the majority of our listings came from people calling us until 2 years ago saying, hey, can you help me? And we were very, very blessed. Our phones rang all the time to that effect. And so it was just, how can I train them? Once the phone rings, how do you handle that? And then can we nail the presentation to get the listing? And we did that really, really well, but we were probably 40% seller business, 60% buyer business. Okay. And then I ran across this genius that has red hair named Ryan Young, and heard him talking about a seller-based business, and just it's something I knew I always needed to fill. And so we had some conversations, and I seen the social proof years ago when Fello was a baby of other people having really great results. And I said, I need to implement that in my business. And it's just really, really helped us for the last year and a half. One of our common themes is we are listing focused. It doesn't mean we don't help buyers, but we are focused on how can we generate more listings. I think if every agent was honest with themselves, the reason we haven't built a listing-based business is because we don't know how. It's a little more difficult, and there's no proven roadmap to go out and go buy to scale your business a bunch of new seller leads that are affordable. And so it's just, that's been a puzzle piece that's really hard to fill in the industry. And Fello has filled that for us. And so now we have the seller opportunities and the seller hand raisers, and we're able to have a prospecting based business around how can we get more listings, because it's been said for years, because it's true. You have to list to last. Mm-hmm. Listings create leverage, and listings also create leads. And so if you go to any marketplace in the world and go look at who dominates the most listings, and by a byproduct of them dominating listing markets, they sell a lot of buyer business too. And it's just really shifted my focus from a 30,000 foot view of buyer business will come. And it's not that we don't focus on them. We still have buyer, we still have all of that, but we are way more intentional around how can we actually get more signs in yards, because that is the biggest lever to scale and grow our business, to not only create more leads, more leverage, easier business, but also if you have a great marketing machine, a listing will create leads for you don't have to pay for. And so there's just so many benefits to running a listing-based business. And I mean, Fello has been the catalyst for us for sure.
I love hearing that. And I want to dive a little bit more into Fello. So you've been on the platform actually exactly 2 years. I was looking at your start date before we hopped on. You started January 1st of 2023. I don't know if you actually dove in Jan 1, but that was the date your plan turned on, if you will, for lack of a better term. So would love, and you kind of just went over that, but over the last 2 years, how has that helped you? Like what features, what tools within the platform have been so paramount for you guys and really shifting to that listing-based business?
So number one is, if you don't have a tool like Fello, it is very, very difficult to create, and probably even more difficult to identify a seller lead. And so why do most large teams run a buyer-based business? Because buyer leads are very easy to acquire. They're very easy to create, and they're cost effective for the most part. And so what I love about Fello is I was trying to solve the seller lead problem for many years. And fortunately, our phones rang, right, with those sorts of things. But if you go back to before Fello was around, I'm sure there were other tools that were similar. I just think Fello does it at such a high level that it's the best on the market, in my opinion. But how did real estate teams before something like Fello create seller leads? They had billboards, they had radio ads, they had all of these things that was a branding play to create inbound seller business. And all that stuff still works, but go look at the cost of that versus the cost of that 5 years ago. It just went skyrocketed. And so maybe you can still do that in your business. And I encourage you, if you can afford that, the ROI is good, do that. But what Fello really solved for us is we had a massive database of these buyer leads that we acquired over the years, our past clients over the years, et cetera. And it really, without having to pay for new leads, it created seller leads from the people we already had in our system. And people that were curious about what their home was worth, people that said, hey, I actually want a market analysis on my home, people that said, hey, can I talk to an agent? I want to sell my property. And also, Ryan worked really closely with us to create a cash offer program in our organization that has led to now an investment company that I own, and cash offers that we're able to provide to our clientele that really helps them if they're in a situation where they need that. And like, so all of those, I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of seller opportunities and people raising their hand about selling their home from Fello that we have not spent any money advertising to, just because the tool is in place.
That's really, really cool to hear. I love that you have set up a cash offer kind of program. Fun to hear that Ryan was kind of integral in getting that set up for you. I do think, just coming from my background, having been at Zillow, when they were big into their iBuying, I saw kind of firsthand where these homeowners would always want the option of a cash offer. But once you actually got to their why, most of them actually wanted to list traditionally. So I think just having that ability, setting up that cash offer program, there are a lot of people that can get hesitant at the thought of like, oh, how am I going to actually have this cash? So, if somebody is in that mindset right now and kind of on the fence of, do I try and set up a cash offer program? Do I not? Would you be willing to share like a little bit of the value or why you think that that's been so good for your business?
Yeah, 100%. So I think that most, I'm going to say something that's probably going to get me in trouble, but I'm an honest person. Most real estate agents are lousy marketers. They just are. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying that most real estate agents are lousy marketers because they don't want to have a bold statement or something that makes them stand out. I've said this in stages where I've been blessed to speak and said, call out from the stage rooms of 500, 1,000 agents. You have 20 seconds to explain to me, why should I list my home with you? I'm interviewing 3 agents. Why should I pick you? Go. And I have them shout it out in front of the room. And every single time, they say the same exact thing. I'll work really hard. I'm honest. I have a proven track record. I'll sell your home fast. Shouldn't that be a requirement to be privileged to help someone with the biggest sale of their life, the home that their family has lived in? Shouldn't we all have integrity? Shouldn't we all work really, really hard to help them? But somehow we have been trained in the industry that those are the things that make us unique. And maybe sometimes it does, which is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But I think that we can be better, and I think that we can do more. And I think having a marketing message in alignment with that, by being able to offer something of value to the right consumer, like an instant cash offer, is something that creates hand raisers for your business. And also, whenever we created this, integrity is one of our core values. I have a company that is called Integrity Property Management because that's just how much I believe at my core. And so I really thought through, I don't want a marketing message to sound too good to be true. Right? I don't want it to be cheesy and any of that. And so I wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row before we did this. And I wanted to make sure that this was a good fit. And Ryan was really instrumental in helping me understand the mindset of that, because I didn't want to, I trust Ryan, and he's an ethical business person and a great friend. And so I think that really helped me set the tone of, all right, let's try this. Let's implement this and roll this out. And I expected maybe 1 or 2 people to accept a cash offer, right? Like, because it's a cash offer. So it's buying as an investor. There's a lot of unknowns, and it's not for everyone. We are getting cash offer requests weekly from clients, and it's been a win-win for so many people, because we're able to not only get in the door because we're creating a marketing message, which creates opportunities for our agents, but also we're able to have the right conversation that, here's your 2 options. Here's the cash offer, or here's what it would look like on the market. Depending on their situation, they choose what's best for them. And I remember the very first cash offer one that we bought. That it was the first request that came in, and it was the first one we closed. For one. And the situation was that the family had a lot of foster kids, and so the home was just kind of beat up, and they had some reason they had to be out of the house in 2 weeks. And they had equity in the home where they could sell it for the cash offer and still make a profit and walk away and not have to worry about it. And so it was a win-win situation that helped that family. And that was the moment, like, literally I just got goosebumps, because for Jamie, you may not know this, but our core focus as an organization is changing lives. We just happen to do that through real estate. And so now that was proof to me that this cash offer program that I was so scared of implementing because I didn't want to sound cheesy helped change that family's life. And so who am I to hold back? And I'm going to start marketing that to more people, because there's more people out there that this could help. And so that's I don't know if that helps.
It does. And actually, I love that you bring up that you were a little apprehensive about it yourself, because there are a lot of people that are in those shoes. And I absolutely love that story. I think it's really heartwarming, and it does show that there are people that's what they need. And that's where their lives have led them. And having that capability, it just gives you the ability to be the guide in their story, to make sure that their life is going as easy as it can in that
Sure.
situation when it can be really stressful and really challenging. Because
And
I
there's a whole nother side to that too, is that let's say that you implement a cash offer program in your business and you never buy a home for cash and it never works out. But if just having the program and having it as a marketing message, will it get your agents face to face with more homeowners who are thinking about selling their home? That gives you an opportunity to show your value and show how you can help them. Like, even if the cash offer never works out, it is a way for you to get face to face so you can figure out how you can help these homeowners. I have a belief, and Fellow has really helped me like verbalize this more, but I've said this for many, many years. Every homeowner is eventually a seller.
Mhm.
It's the truth. And so now we just have the data that we're able to see, hopefully, when they're thinking about selling. And if we can get face to face with them, then we have a way better chance of getting their business.
Absolutely. I agree with that completely. I want to hit a few more things in our conversation today, Matt, but also want to be really respectful of your time. One way that you started getting super involved in the Fellow community was through something that we did last year in May called the 30-day listing challenge, which we are going to be doing again this March. Would love to just get your, high level overview of your experience in that challenge. What motivated you to get started? What motivated you to keep going, be resilient? And you guys were really successful in the challenge from what I remember.
Yeah, so I love a good competition. Number one, I'm a competitive person, and I'll be honest. Credit to Ryan is seeing him do it himself. Really motivated me to do it because I'm not in production, right? And so, I mean, I'm very in tune. I'm at my office with my team every day, but I don't compete with my agents, right?
Mhm.
And so I saw Ryan going through that, and I'm like, we need to do this as a team. And so it was weird timing, seeing him complete that, seeing his journey that he shared, which was so much valuable tips, by the way. And then also seeing that our listing focus that we had in our organization had kind of been on a downfall. We had
Mhm.
lost the peppiness behind it and the excitement, and just kind of lost some momentum and
Got out
traction
of
a
the
little bit.
honeymoon phase.
That's right. That's right. So now it was like, oh, this is actually work. And so we needed something to kind of reinvigorate the team. And I believe as a leader, I'm working on growing to become a better leader each and every day. And I believe the speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. And so I thought, how can I become a better leader here to help the team? I'm going to lead from the front. Let's do it together. And so I'm a person of action. And so I picked up my phone, and literally as soon as I had that thought, I did a video and I did a live and said, all right, I'm doing it. 30 listings in 30 days. Here we go. I didn't know how, I didn't know where. I just wanted to make a public declaration so I couldn't back out.
Mhm.
And then we did it. And I was able to set 31 listing appointments in 30 days. I worked less than 5 new leads, and the new leads I worked were ones on weekends when our agents didn't get to them, and I wanted to make sure the client got taken care of. And here's the cool part with being able to navigate Fellow and everything we talked about throughout my journey of building your skill by taking the action and reviewing your game film. I worked less than an hour a day to set 31 listing appointments in 30 days because of the skills that I've been able to develop, because of the playbook that Ryan and Fellow provided, and more importantly, because of the leads and opportunities and hand raisers and data that Fellow provided. It made it so much easier for me to find those opportunities and to convert those into appointments.
I love that. And I can still remember your declaration video. You were at your child's birthday party or someone's birthday party, and you had a massive bounce house behind you.
Yep.
And I was like, my kids would be in heaven if they were there right now. What were some things that your team members that participated got out of the challenge as well?
Yeah. So whenever we did the challenge the first time, we did well as a team, but we kind of lost a little momentum, and they were learning how to navigate Fellow, and so there's definitely a learning curve there. All of them set significantly more listing appointments that month than they did the previous month, so it worked really, really well. But I can't remember the amount that we set. I think we took second in the challenge as a team, which was really cool. But what is even more impactful is there's a couple things. There's a 3-day plan that we now have implemented because of that challenge, which I'll share with you. But the most impactful thing was the 30 listings in 30 days has stuck with our organization. So how long ago was that challenge that Ryan did that?
Ryan did it in March, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And we
So
did
it's
it as
almost
a
a year
company
ago.
in May. Yeah.
It's almost a year ago. I have an agent on my team that made a commitment in December that she was going to do the 30 listings in 30-day challenge on her own because of Ryan's leadership, because I did it, because of the community. And in the month of December, she set 30 listing appointments in 30 days.
That's incredible in December.
An agent on a team. And so
Yeah.
the people that have the belief, oh, Ryan can do it because he's Ryan, or Matt because of this. No, an agent on a team did it. And so it is possible. And one of the things that really struck me, she did a presentation and shared with our team kind of the takeaways and ahas that she had learned. And one of the things that was really cool to see is that by her just diving in and making that commitment, she said, I now know how to use our CRM and Fello way more than I ever have. And she's been on our team for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
But because she had to find that appointment, I think a lot of times, go back to what you asked me, what was my focus as a new agent, or what would be the advice? I didn't say how many people I would call, how many people I would talk to. I had to meet with one person. I had to set one appointment, get face-to-face with one person today. And I mean, there's days I went home and I wasn't able to do it. But I think too many times there's these vanity metrics and we give ourselves these excuses. Real estate's a contact sport. You got to get face-to-face with people. And how can you, if you just have that as your measuring stick, if I have to set one appointment today, just find a way to do it and follow the data. And it's just really amazing to see where those results have led our organization. And now it's caught on. There's, I think 6 of our agents are running the challenge right now themselves in the month of January. And one of them is on pace to set 30 appointments in 30 days. And the others are like, they've set 8 appointments and 9 appointments. And so like, it's really cool to see how it's caught momentum in our organization.
That's really cool. And you're going to have to prepare them because come March, we're going to be running another one. So you guys.
We're going to win it this time.
What?
We're going to win it this time.
It's going to be even bigger and better. So you'll have to make sure that the team is fired up and ready to go. We're coming up on time, but I did really want to chat with you before we hopped off about your real estate community. So it's All or Nothing, correct? Is the name of it. So tell me, I want to be respectful of your time, but I would love for you to just tell me a little bit about that community, how it got started, how people can join it, how they can, kind of leverage the literal wealth of knowledge that is in there each and every day.
Yeah, thank you. It's All or Nothing in Real Estate is a passion project of mine. It was created 2.5 years ago. And I decided that I wanted to, and I say that I have a podcast also on any major platform, All or Nothing in Real Estate. You guys can find it. There's a lot of value that I give there for free. There's a private group at Facebook that you can join for all kinds of free advice. I'm not selling anything. It's just value. And really where it came from is that, number one, All or Nothing. What does the name mean? I believe that if you're going to do something like real estate, if you're going to do something in life, period, especially something like real estate, too many people dip their toe in and they do this thing that they say as an excuse. And they say, I'm going to try it. Try is a cuss word in my world. We don't say try. We either do or we don't. And I think so many people, when they dip their toe in and they give it half-hearted effort, it doesn't work because they had a plan B.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do something, give it your all or don't do it. And that's just the mentality. And I thought that would be really impactful for real estate agents. There's too many people that I talk to that say, I want to try real estate. I've always been curious. If you're just curious, it's not for you. But if you're committed, it could be a career that can change your life. And there's 2 different mindsets. And so that's where the name came from. And I've been so blessed by so many mentors and learning from so many people that have just poured knowledge and wisdom into me that I just feel like I owe it to give it back. And it's really just a way for me to give back to the industry has given so much to me. And so All or Nothing in Real Estate, there's a podcast, there's a private group, and you can reach out to me any way that you can. People reach out all the time. I literally fills my cup when I can help another real estate agent. So reach out. I'm here to help.
I love that. And it's funny that you say that about the word try. My husband and I, we read books together all the time. And there was one that we read, and I can't remember which one it was off the top of our head, but they talk about using the word try and whether people realize or not. But when they add try, that's really them giving themselves an excuse to
It gives you
fail.
an out.
And so I like that's kind of a mindset of yours, because I actually wholeheartedly agree with that as well. And I love that you give so deeply to the real estate community. The information that you are sharing, because I'm in the community, is incredible. I would encourage everybody to join and just continue to grow and learn, because it really is just a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, and it's ever growing, and it's really just a contribution. And so I believe, and I learned from my mentor, my coach, John Cheplack, is that if you want to keep what you have to give it away. And so it's literally, I'll just have a thought, and similar to hey, I'm going to do 30 listings in 30 days. I'll just, in the moment, I'll stop what I'm doing and do a video and post it. That's something that is real, that is genuine, it's happening in the moment. And it's just, every playbook that we have, everything, I've just given it away because I just want to see other people win. I believe there is too much negative connotation around the word competition. And what I believe is that there's enough for us to all win, and there's enough for us to all win at a very high level. And I always say people can't compete with me because I want you to win too. Doesn't mean I'm not going to try to win a little bit more. But if you're trying to compete with me, guess what? I want you to win too. So why don't we just collaborate and win together? And what I found by being in the biggest rooms in the industry with the biggest performers like Ryan and his peers and everyone else that's in the Fello community is like, the contribution is what the winners are doing. They're contributing at a high level. It is for lack of a better term, it is the bottom feeders, the ones that are competing, and the ones that are small-minded, and the ones that are the takers. The ones that are winning are the ones that are giving. And so I just want to give more.
100%, 100%. Well, Matt, thank you so much for your time today. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I appreciate you just spending a few minutes pouring into the Fello community. Wealth of knowledge. I'll encourage everybody always to go check out your resources. But thank you again. Really excited to share this conversation with the Fello team, but also with everybody within the community that we get to service.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor.
Yes. Thank you, Matt. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.